Hey y'all, welcome back to the, I think the seventh for sure, the 7th episode of Advice for Buffoons. So, as I said last episode, this is a very special episode because not only do I have to make up for the canceled Halloween episode that I didn't technically promise, but I did bring it up with multiple people. It is the birthday extravaganza special because but by the time episode 8 comes out, my birthday will have came and passed, and I'll be 23 years old. Which is so terribly and insanely exciting. I guess. So, I said we would do an episode for the kids, which I think is important because, you know, the kids are totally our future. I mean, they're really, really important. So, I mean, that's what people say, right? It's up for debate on if it's true or not, but, you know, they're obviously of some, you know, relative importance in our society, so I suppose it's certainly, you know, valuable to have catered content for them, because sort of the most important thing you can do in Western society, and any society at all really, is simply just watch things and listen to things. Don't necessarily think about it, but it's pretty important to sort of just intake ideas and then it's not really do anything with them. So that's pretty valuable, and we do have a lot of we have got a lot of questions. We got a lot of advice to give out. So we'll start with we'll start with housekeeping. So there's 2 notes. One, I wrote a short story that got rejected. That's okay. I didn't expect it to get accepted anyways, but I'm just glad I wrote it, and I took a leap of faith and submitted it, so that's good. The other thing is that my my refund from the Red River College has been approved. So that's an ARC 6 episode, 6 weeks in the making. So that's fantastic that they're giving me my money back. So when I mentioned the Premiere Pro subscription they didn't pay back, I'm now getting the money back. So that's fantastic. Other than that, not a ton going on. I mean, it's my birthday coming up. My birthday party is tomorrow, and my actual birthday is on the 29th. So if anyone wants to wish me happy birthday in the comment section, feel free. You don't have to, but it certainly will impact if I respond to your advice questions going forward, for sure. That will definitely impact that. I can't lie to you about that. I'm not gonna. It's Kiddy Corner, so I'm not gonna lie. So additionally, I want to have, you know, a clean, sort of family-friendly show. Usually there's a lot of cussing, a lot of talk of, bad lurkers. So we're gonna try to keep it, you know, relatively clean. We're gonna keep it clean, good family show, at least until the advice section. So all the parents in the audience, maybe tune out, maybe turn off. I mean, parents don't really watch their kids on the internet, but, you know, sort of, like, stop your kid from watching if you start hearing, you know, F-bombs and D-bombs and X-bombs and sort of N-bombs, B-bombs and A, B, C bombs and S-bombs and R-bombs and D-bombs or whatever bombs I could drop. You know, nincompoop and terms like that. That's really not appropriate. The kitty shouldn't be listening to this. So if you sort of clicked on the video and you're like, what? It says episode 7, the Kiddy Corner. That's why it says that. It's not about cats, it's about children. So I think we can start the episode with a special visit from our friend Deborah. I'll just hop off screen for a minute, and she'll say hello. Hello. I'm Deborah the bird. What do you want me to say? Does it do a message for the kids? Fuck kids. What? No, don't say that. Stop. I think kids are stupid. Okay, we'll have to cut out this word, but what's your favorite part about kids? I like it when they shut up. I don't like children. I'm a bird. Specifically, I'm a dodo bird from Mauritius. Don't touch the lens. I'm sorry. So that didn't go to plan, but that's really not my fault. And it's so it's different when a bird swears, because for a bird they don't understand our language. Yes, I do. So let's just jump into the next sort of activity I have for the kids. It's a narwhal and jelly book, peanut butter and jelly. So this is written by Ben Clanton, who also writes Clantoons. I don't know what the hell a Clantoon is, but so this is and that's so fantastic. It immediately opens with an ad for their other book. So that's how you know it's good for kids, is that they want them to buy more stuff. So let's get right into it. Ahoy jelly, what is that small strange waffle you're eating? Nom nom nom. Which that nom 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 is not a real word, so this is narwhal, this is not a waffle, it is a peanut butter cookie. It's a peanut butter cookie. He's sort of hitting the Pixar like. Hee hee, peanut, and now they're referencing Michael Jackson. That's not right. Peanut butter. So I guess that the joke is that it's like a pee, like urine, a nut, like busting a nut, and a butt, like a booty hole, and an like, you know, the ER, like emergency care unit. That sounds funny. What is it? What? You've never heard of peanut butter? Does it taste like a waffle? No. Like strawberries, pickles, stir-fried licorice? No and ick. I'll just, hold on. Maybe it tastes like a stir-fried licorice on... have you actually eaten something like that before? It has a rotten picture of that. No, not really. Actually, I pretty much only eat waffles. So this is sort of... It's sort of hearkening back to a different time. Maybe if you're my age, this would have been grade 5, when people would talk about narwhals and waffles and stuff. And let's be honest, it was quite stupid. It wasn't funny, one. 2, you didn't learn squat. And 3, narwhals don't eat waffles. That's not true. So don't teach children that. Because, wait a minute. Only waffles? You only eat waffles, yep. What about spaghetti? You must have had spaghetti before. There's no spaghetti in the ocean. So I'm going to sort of skip ahead a little bit, because this is sort of rather infantile. Shouldn't really be teaching this to children. Allergic? Don't think so, but I once knew a seahorse who couldn't eat waffles. So, the Allergic Aquatic Animals Awareness Association advises caution when trying a common allergen. So now you've got this woke stuff in here, too. The narwhal can't have waffles because he might be allergic. Give me a break. Or peanut butter. Come on now. It's fantastic. Narwhals don't have fins. Whales don't have those. The jellyfish certainly doesn't have those, so it doesn't... this is just... And now the narwhal's yellow. Like, this is not... This is what we're teaching our children. This is what they're teaching our children, is that the narwhals eat... Number one, they're friends with jellyfish, which they're not. They would never befriend a jellyfish. Narwhals eat fish. They probably eat a jellyfish. The other thing that's an issue with this is that narwhals don't eat peanut butter. They don't. There's no peanut butter in the ocean. There's no nuts in the ocean. But either way, narwhals don't eat that. And so you got this book teaching children this nonsense. This complete and utter... And it's trite is what it is. It's trite. Okay, and then he says, then he gets... then the narwhal grows giant. And so that's scary. That's frightening for kids. It's frightening for kids to see someone grow giant because they don't know what's going to happen. When I was a kid and I saw Gulliver's Travels, he didn't grow giant, but he was giant, and I was concerned. Because what if he stepped on the Lilliputians? And I think he even does at one point. Which, maybe Gulliver's Travels isn't so much for children either. So, I think we're just going to sort of... I think the Kiddy Corner, is a whip. It's a work in progress. If you're a parent in the audience... if you're a parent, please let me know what you thought about the episode, because the kids are so so important to me. It's they're really sort of critical to my audience, and they always leave such nice comments. So yeah, Kiddy Corner's over. So if you're a kid, turn it off. And it's sort of, if you remember Cartoon Network, they'd have the Adult Swim bumpers, and they'd be like, "It's about to get devious. You better turn it off, little boy." And it would scare the bejesus out of you. And so, that's sort of what we're going to do. We're going to do a countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you're still here, your mommy wants you to die. So, that should have scared off all the children. So we can get right into the advice. So this one is not more so a comment, but it's from last episode. I would be honest if I didn't want to eat the slush, even if it meant facing repercussions. Applejack taught me about honesty. Maybe you could afford to learn a lesson or two from My Little Pony. So, that's a good comment, I guess, but it's a little backhanded. That's for sure. Could I afford to learn a lesson or two from My Little Pony? Maybe. Maybe you could afford to learn a lesson or two from Durkheim or Weber, but you don't really see me sort of throwing that out there, do you? So, thanks for the comment. I'm glad that My Little Pony's sort of teaching you lessons. I think that's good. I think it's good to learn lessons and to be honest. Honesty is valuable. Honesty is the best policy. Am I gonna watch My Little Pony? Probably not, no. But, I'll certainly keep it in mind next time I see somebody posting about My Little Pony. Although the only things I really see people posting about are them kissing each other and them getting infected by viruses. So I think, I'm not sure what the through line is there, but that's good. That's all right. Okay. So, another comment, this was a great episode. My question is, my friends don't want to go trick-or-treating, but I still do, but I don't want to go big myself. What do I do? And then someone responded, secure the bag. If your friends don't want to go trick-or-treating, and you don't want to go by yourself, sometimes you need to have the confidence and the wherewithal to enjoy being alone. We're social creatures, but we're also high-thinking creatures, too. So, we've been gifted with this brain and the power to do things of our own volition, but it can be very intimidating and frightening to actually put that into practice and exist as an individual person. Sometimes a lot of the time I'll not all the time, but a decent amount of time I'll go on solo journeys, and it's just me and myself, and you develop a greater degree of comfort with being alone. And I would describe it as a sort of form of positive isolation, where you're not excluding yourself from events, but you're excluding others from time with you, sort of, if that makes sense. You're taking the time to do something on your own with yourself, and it's not because you don't have someone to go with you, although it might be. It's more so that you're capable and it's necessary to do this on your own. We're not always going to have somebody with us to do things. So, is it nice to have friends to go trick-or-treating with? Oh, absolutely, it's nice. But is it okay to go trick-or-treating by yourself? Yes. it is okay to go by yourself. So I'm going to assume this is one of the kids in the audience asking the question. So, if you're a kid, it depends entirely on how old you are. If you're about 0 years old to 8, or 0 years old to 10, your mom or dad should go with you. And if they don't want to go with you, you might just have to stay home. If you're above the age of 10, it's sort of, I would say it's Pokemon rules where, just go on your own, right? Maybe you'll meet a little buddy while out in an adventure. I can't say I've ever gone trick-or-treating alone. I can't say that that's something I've done, and truth be told, it's not really something I would do, but I think you are capable and strong enough to do this on your own. I think that if your costume's dope enough, even if you could be 20 years old, and if you got a dope costume, and maybe if you're short and you have a kid voice, anyone will give you sort of candy. The last time I went trick-or-treating, I was probably about 15 or 14, and I was dressed as a wizard. And one of the houses I went to they're like, aren't you too old to be trick-or-treating? And they gave us candy anyways, but for the most part, it was pretty choice. So, yeah, there you go. And to this person saying secure the bag, that's good advice, right? It's money first mindset, right? Obviously not in every walk of life, but in terms of money. Secure the bag for sure. Get them candies, especially the big Toblerones and big Reese's cups. So yeah, that's that one. Also, you can, if you're sort of scared of leaving the house, what you could do is you could go to Walmart and you could buy a bunch of candy, and then you could just hide it around your house and pretend it's a scavenger hunt. And that's a little embarrassing. So don't tell anyone if you do that, but it's certainly an option. And we have another long comment here. In a modern deferred rendering pipeline for a high-performance game engine, how would you optimize the management of multiple dynamic light sources with respect to both GPU memory bandwidth and that the GPU stands for graphics processing unit, and computational overhead, especially in scenarios involving complex materials like those using screen space reflections or subsurface scattering? Can you explain the role of clustered shading, cutoff, or tile deferred rendering in addressing these challenges, and how these techniques compare in terms of scalability and performance? P.S. Looking fresh, fellas. So, right off the bat, thank you. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. It means a lot that you like my haircut. So, this is an excellent question because I wanted to be a game developer when I was a kid, and then I realized the math was too hard, and so I quit. I gave up. Screen space reflections, that's sort of obvious, and subsurface scattering, it's scattering below the surface, right? And clustered shading. Well, how about this? I wrote out an answer here. The clusters are only used to build the light list. You, naively, check every light with every cluster and build a list of all the lights in each cluster. In reality, this is optimized and packed, but brute force might be num_clusters asterisk max lights per cluster. Then when rendering, you use the fragment position to look up which cluster the fragment is in, so you can keep track of all your fragments and clusters. And forward clustering, you would render the object and do this to look up in the pixel shader along with the lighting. In deferred, you render a full screen pass and do the lookup in the pixel shader with the lighting. So unless I'm mistaken on how the clusters are handled, there should be no overheads, and you'd have to render each object only one time anyways. So I don't know if that was helpful, but I certainly hope it was. So I know dynamic light sources are tough. Notch said that he couldn't do dynamic torches in Minecraft, and then there was a mod like a month later where they had dynamic torches. But you know, that's yeah. I mean, lights are always crazy. The Game Boy had no backlighting, right? That was crazy. So if you were playing in the dark, you were just fucked because there was no fucking LED back then. So you'd have to, if you wanted to play your Game Boy in the dark, you'd need a flashlight to play your Game Boy. Nowadays, everything is lit up, almost to an obscene degree. Like you can't really turn the brightness down on your computer that much. It still hurts your eyes at nighttime. So that's a completely different thing. I guess I didn't comment on how they compare in terms of scalability and performance. Well, I mean, what you're going to want to know is that one certainly performs better, but it's scaled lower, and the other performs worse, but it's scaled higher. So that's how most things go, right? It's you're always making some kind of trade or sacrifice. One thing is better, one thing is worse, but the worser thing is usually easier to do, and the betterer thing is usually harder to do. Here's an example. Rendering. When you render a 4K image video, it takes way fucking longer to render. It takes up way more resources, so you might be able to bang out more shitty videos with a lower quality and a shorter runtime, but the longer, higher quality videos take longer to produce. And I mean, it's sort of... It's funny in the way that computers mimic humans, because for me to make a 1 minute thing, it takes a lot longer to do a half-hour thing, obviously. So, but computers sort of emulate that aspect of us where quality, and maybe this is a universal thing, but quality is strongly correlated with time, in every walk of life. It's strongly correlated with time and energy. In every situation, quality correlates with that. So it's, you know, that's for your question, but it's also real life. Editing the videos takes longer, uses up more resources, and has a much longer render time. But it also produces a higher quality product. So you have to balance these things. In everywhere in your life. Sometimes you're going to need to produce... Sometimes you're going to phone it in, and that's the best you can do, and you kind of need to be compassionate towards yourself for that. You need to, you know, engage positively with yourself when you mess up, when you fuck up. You need to be forgiving. But you also need to be critical, too, sometimes. You can't just walk through life being a bum. You sort of have to... you have to find a healthy balance where you say, okay, I did poorly. Why did I do it? Okay, that's why. I'll try to address it in the future, but I'm not going to beat myself up over it, and I'm not less valuable for that failure. You know, that's sort of the balance you have to strike. But, you know, unfortunately, maybe fortunately for me, that's sort of the end of our advice. But that's sort of the end of our advice. But I don't know. We can still chat. We don't have to say goodbye. I was thinking while laying in my bed last night. I have very poor sleeps, but I was thinking while laying in my bed. I was thinking about earnesty, and I don't know how earnest of a character I am. I feel things very earnestly, as everyone does. Well, most people do, but I often don't speak earnestly and treat people, I treat people well, but I don't think I treat them, I don't say what I'm really feeling a lot of the time, in a positive and a negative way. So, sometimes, if you know me, my compliments can come across as sarcastic, or tongue-in-cheek. And that's not because, let's say a friend of mine shows up and they look happy, confident, and I say, oh, you look nice today, or looking fresh. My language can come across, and I know this, my language can come across as sarcastic or sometimes even demeaning to people, but that's not at all what's going on. Like, the feeling you have, if you do feel this way, is absolutely real. But the feeling I have is not, oh, I want to make fun of this person. The feeling I have is, I want to compliment this person, but the vulnerability and the earnesty is intimidating. It's frightening to be vulnerable and earnest with people, even people you care about a lot. I mean, saying I love you to someone is scary, even if it's only going to make them happy. It's because it's a risk to show kindness, it feels. But you need to, and I need to, live as honestly and fully as possible. And that's sort of my advice for all the buffoons out there, me being one of them. If there's one takeaway from this episode, is going forward in your life, be as true and as earnest and as honest as you can, because, you only get one sort of run around, and it's better that everyone knows who you are and what you feel, and it's better that it's critical that you are true to what you want and what you mean. You don't want to leave stones unturned, right? You don't want to leave people wondering what you really thought and what you really felt. So that's the takeaway for today. The other takeaway, I guess, is that if you have a podcast and you want sort of a child-friendly message, don't bring on a bird, especially like a large raptor. Especially like a raptor, because, they're used to sort of eating rodents and bugs and stuff. So they're sort of hardened animals. If you're going to bring on, a little critter, bring on like a prairie dog. Bring on something like that, because that's a lot more sort of appropriate for the kids. So this is Bardo signing out. This is episode 7